Hi, how are you? Welcome back. I'm working on refinishing some speakers, and these are vintage speakers. They're actually from 1980. The nice thing about these speakers is they have a real wood veneer as opposed to a plastic or a vinyl veneer. It's always nice when you're working with something real, like real wood. It can certainly add a depth to the project. So let me show you some of what we're working with here. Now these have been around for a while and they've had a fair amount of damage. I'm going to try to bring out the grain and fix some of the damage that you see, watermarks from people having a good time, putting their drink down, what have you. And so they've been at a couple parties, which is just awesome. And speakers have a story to tell, and if they could talk, right? And they do, they talk in their own way. Anyhow, when I found these, they did not have any woofers anymore. So that's going to be a talk for another video. But they did have the original tweeters, which I was excited about. These are the original tweeters, sorry. And I believe that they were manufactured by Seas or Peerless. I'm not entirely sure. There isn't much information about them back or the size of these. I could find out if I did a little more research. I was hoping that I could salvage these tweeters, but as you see with this one, it is damaged. See that little red wire? That is broken. That might be more than it's worth considering the rest of the quality of what we're dealing with here. But maybe another time. So they were in pretty rough shape, as you can tell. I started to fix this one up here. The veneer was coming off, so I just give it a quick fix with some wood glue, regular wood glue, and taped it down and then weighed it down. The real trick will be to be giving this a nice refinish and getting some oils into the wood, and also working on the faceplates here. These are sort of painted with a flex paint or a Dura paint. It's got some specks into it, gives it some texture. You can hear that if you something like that, but it'll be nice to try to fix that up. And I just want to share a little tip that I've learned when taking stuff apart, really anything, even your motorcycle. It's a great idea to keep things a little organized, and I was taking apart these tweeters, and I was removing screws and some C-clamps from these older speakers, and you can't get that particular screw anymore, or you don't get the look that you want, so it's a good idea to make sure that you know where all your stuff is. And for that, I like to use a little mason jar. Just pick them up at canning stores or grocery stores or whatever, like, you know, if you have a mason jar around, or just save your old stuff. And plastic bags, resealable plastic bags. These are awesome for keeping track of stuff. If you can even write labels on it so you know where things are, because you never know when you're going to get back to your project. So that's always a good idea, just to stay organized. Also, a lot of times with older speaker systems, you're not quite sure which wire goes which, because you can have a variety of wires inside, and they're not necessarily labeled, and they might have different types of connectors on them. So sometimes, if you're not sure, before you disconnect, put a label on it. There are some nicks and scratches. There are some glue stains from the original badge that used to be on here for the logo for the product. There's a couple little chips in there, and I'm trying to address those. And naturally, the quality of the wood. It's very thirsty, it needs some oil, and it needs cleaning. Who knows what that could be. You know, and then there's also freshening up the front here. So this is the inside of the speaker. That is the 1980s crossover, which divides the frequencies from the different speakers that the speaker consists of, such as the larger speaker known as the woofer, and then in this area smaller speaker known as the tweeter, and sometimes you can have a mid-range speaker, which is usually a three-way speaker. So there's three basic components of the speaker. This one only has two. There's acoustic padding in there from 1980, and also you'll see that there's a sort of a shelf in here, and I'll show you. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but the inside is divided into two compartments. So some people call that like a Labyrinth speaker. This changes the way in which the sound reverberates, and in this particular speaker the sound reverberates out the back. This is the other part of the speaker, comes out there, giving it it pushes the air out there. This is the back of the speaker. These are the hookups. This is the opposite side of that crossover, and you'll see there's the connecting and the brand. These are Optimus T-70s from 1980, and this allows you to adjust the frequencies. That's the frequency control. So I'm pretty excited to get it all cleaned up and see how these work out when I add new components. Hopefully get components that are close to the original and maybe even better.